Hey guys, so this is the official start of my Germany travel vlog. Sorry for my voice. I was kind of sick before filming this. I'm better now, but the voice is still gone. So you're just gonna have to deal with this for this vlog this time. I finished my packing last night. It's still dark outside because it's very early in the morning, but I'm going to go and make it over to the airport and then catch our flight over to Berlin. It's our first time ever in Germany, and I'm really excited to experience all that the country has to offer. So let's go. After a short hour and 40-minute flight, we arrived in bright and sunny Germany. Right away, we took the train to get into the big city. After the train, it was such nice weather out, we decided to walk the rest of the way to the Airbnb. The courtyard of our building was absolutely gorgeous. The room itself was a perfect size for 3 people. The kitchen was very well stocked and the beds were super comfy. After unpacking and having a quick lunch, we made our way over to the Berlin Wall Memorial.
On the East Berlin side, desperate residents jumped down from their apartment windows onto the pavement below in West Berlin. Some paid with their lives as a result.
The memorial had a lot of information about the wall and the Cold War. Just being there, knowing the tragic history behind the wall was so impactful. After visiting the memorial, we needed to lift our spirits, so we went out for some traditional German food and, of course, German beers. Our second day in Berlin was definitely a busy one. We started the day by getting some fresh air and walked all the way down to the river. However, the river wasn't our final destination. We actually wanted to go to see the Reichstag Building.
I know you send me, darling, you send me, I know you.
It was a very patriotic spot, especially because today was Unity Day in Germany.
Hat nicht verdient. Wir haben es nicht verdient.
Und ihr wisst, was ihr habt.
And of course, we couldn't visit Berlin without seeing the famous Brandenburg Gate. saw some historic cosplayers in the square, which I thought was very cool. After seeing the famous landmarks, we walked over to see the Holocaust Memorial. The memorial consists of over 2,700 concrete gray slabs. While there, everything is so quiet and bleak, you can easily find yourself getting lost in the maze of the concrete. Being in this memorial felt unlike any other one I'd visited before. It really gives you time to reflect on all of the tragic history that led to its creation. Afterwards, we crossed the street and entered Tiergarten Park. There were lots of monuments and beautiful nature landscapes to enjoy. Although the rose garden was probably my favorite spot in the entire gardens. At the end of the gardens was the Victory Column, a famous monument created as a symbol of Prussia's war victories. After all the walking in the gardens, we were so exhausted we decided to take the public transportation. We quickly found ourselves on a bus, making our way over to a famous flea market in Berlin. This was definitely the most people I'd seen out shopping in over a year. There was literally everything and anything you could think to buy here at this flea market. After so much time spent browsing, we got pretty hungry, so we stopped at the food stands and got something called currywurst. Even better, our dinner came with a show.
Beautiful. You guys are better than the old man.
Oh shit. Oh, there he goes.
market and drummers were so fun, in fact, that they inspired us to keep the party going later that evening. And what could be more fun than tropical drinks with delicious desserts? The next day, we decided to be extra touristy and went all the way to Museum Island. The Roman-inspired architecture and gardens were very beautiful. The statues and birds really brought the garden to life. After the first museum, we made our way over to the famous Berlin Cathedral. But not before passing even more famous museums on Museum Island. There are 5 after all. The cathedral was so impressive and beautiful, one of my favorite sights. After leaving Museum Island to the mainland, we started wandering around in search for the Gendarmenmarkt Plaza. It took a little while, but eventually we did find this plaza with its famous buildings and architecture. Probably my favorite building, though, was the concert house in the middle of the square. After our touristy morning, we found an adorable little chocolate cafe just by the square. We had to try the German chocolate cake. Not only was there a chocolate cafe, but there was a chocolate factory just downstairs. Everything looked so delicious. I wanted to eat absolutely everything I set my eyes on. The chocolate factory wasn't the only shop in the area. We also went into some souvenir stores. Afterwards, we had another historic site to visit, Checkpoint Charlie.
The McDonald's that now inhabits Checkpoint Charlie.
You gotta take a picture of that.
It's too good.
It's America.
God save the Queen, or the President. The President. Good to see you, comrade.
Gallery is a permanent open-air gallery on the longest and most well-preserved portion of the Berlin Wall. 118 different artists from 21 countries all came together in the 1990s to paint all 105 of these murals on the wall. However, due to urbanization, only the replica paintings from 2009 can still be seen on the wall today. That doesn't mean that the artwork is any less beautiful though, in my opinion. For our last day in Berlin, we decided to end things on a high note by going to the Charlottenburg Palace. The outside of the palace was impressive, but the inside showed all of the history and the well-preserved chamber exhibits. All of the rooms had to be rebuilt from the post-World War II destruction, but many of the paintings and trinkets are from the original structure. A lot of the rooms centered around music and focused on fairy tales from German folklore. Even the ceilings were built extravagantly in this palace. Another thing to note about the rooms is the sheer number of mirrors, which add to the perceived size of the room and to the light reflection of it all. By far, the most famous room in the entire palace is the Chinese Gallery. This room is lavish with hundreds of vases imported from Asia, as well as silks and golds and statues. The final room in the palace was the chapel, which always played beautiful organ music the entire year. The outside of the palace was also pleasant, despite the gloomy weather. The palace gardens were lovely, full of bushes, trees, flowers, and fountains. We ended up exploring the grounds for over an hour and even found a mini castle in the forest. It did start raining pretty hard though, but not before we found this magical fairy tale bridge with a fantastic view of the castle. And that concludes our trip to Berlin. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.